Thank you for joining us for today's edition of Panorama. It's 3 minutes gone past 8 o'clock from the Integrity Station, Splash 106.7 FM, situated in Abeokuta, the capital of the Gateway State of the State. That is auction. But yeah, there I see her, and I'm here. Gbenga is my name.
No, you shouldn't do things like that. All right?
Okay.
Yes, Odera Otaru is here.
Okay.
Gbenga Fayehun is here. Yeah. Look at the Ogun State Independent Electoral Commission and the upcoming local government elections in the state. The updates you need to know. This is going to be going on from now till about 5 minutes to 9 a.m. You can connect with us. We're live on Facebook as well as our WhatsApp for comments for now, 0817 555 1067. The phone lines will be open, but not right now. It will be open during the course of the show.
Okay, we have...
Good morning, Odera. Good morning, Gbenga. And a very good morning to the people of the state.
Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Okay, I know you had a concern about audibility, but you sound very audible now, so no hassles.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about preparation so far from your end towards July 24 local government elections in the state.
Okay, where do I start from? So we announced on the 30th of April that we are going to hold elections into the 20 local governments of Ogun State on the 24th of July 2021.
Right.
So on that day there will be elections into the offices of chairman and vice chairman and also councillors. There are 236 wards in Ogun State, so we will be electing 236 councillors in addition to 20 chairmen and 20 vice chairmen. Where we are right now is that 12 political parties have indicated interest in running for the elections. They have held primaries. We have been screening candidates since last week. Originally, on our timetable, we were meant to complete this because there have been some, if I could put that way, logistical issues that have prevented some of the candidates from presenting themselves for screening at OHCA over the last few days. So it does not in any way mean that the elections will not take place on the 24th. We have looked at our timetable, so we are able to still manage this extension in such a way that the elections will hold on the appointed date.
Okay, so what are the key factors that you look out for during your screening of the candidate?
Okay, some are as basic as age.
Okay.
The law provides that a person running for councillor should be a minimum of 25 years old.
Must they be an indigent?
No, but I'll get to that. There must be a minimum of 25 years old. Frankly, we've seen candidates who have come forward who are 22. They don't qualify under our law.
Even when they have, better potential than the 25 and above year olds?
We have to do everything according to law. And that's what the law provides. It also says that a candidate for chairman must be no less than 30 years old. So if someone comes forward and it's evident that they're less than that, then we will not be able to clear them for the election. And then, of course, if someone has a conviction for drugs or for treason, the equivalent of WASP or SSCE. So if they don't have evidence of that, or it's clear that whatever evidence they provide is not quite genuine, then there are concerns that there are questions to answer. These are what we are looking at in the screening exercise.
Okay, to also mention, you mentioned that 12 political parties so far have indicated interest to fill into various positions, those of councillors, the chairman, the vice chairman, and all of those things. What is I'm not exactly asking for a number now, but what is the outlook like from all of the parties? Are they optimistic?
I'm trying to understand that question.
Are they enthusiastic about the forthcoming election?
Oh, absolutely. We've had a really good turnout. Some parties have presented candidates for all the wards, not all parties. Many of the parties will choose to present candidates in areas where I guess they feel that they have the strength to win the contest. So, but in eligible to participate is given a chance to do so. This is why we've done what I said earlier. We do not want anyone to have any excuse to say, oh, it's because of OCF or that. The turnout has been really good, and we want everybody who's able to participate.
The parties apparently have to go through some set of primaries to select or elect their choice, as the case may be. Were you part of that process?
Yes, we did monitor or observe the primaries all over the state to make sure that wherever they held primaries, they were held according to their constitution, the party's constitution. So yes, we did.
Okay, and what was it like with what you observed?
Well, generally very peaceful. We were very happy to notice that particular point. Very peaceful across the state. We didn't notice any untoward incidents throughout the exercise. At least those ones that we observed. I think many of the parties have learned lessons over the years to make sure that by the time they're coming to the primaries, they've ironed out a lot of issues that could cause rancor, that could cause a lot of disorder. So generally, it was very peaceful.
A bit out of limb here, but is OCSEC also responsible in any way for post-election performance of the candidates? Is there any party that is, okay, you're not?
No, the same way as we will not hold INEC responsible for the performance of either the president or anyone else who's been elected under their own processes. Our job finishes at election.
What body is responsible for that?
Well, I'm not sure there is one.
Okay, at the LGA level. Okay,
yes, I mean,
okay. I guess that falls back on the people to rate the performance of the councillors and chairmen.
It's the electorate's job to look at it over the 3 years and then determine whether those people have performed creditably.
Yes, but in a situation where the electorate is not particularly happy with the performance, before the 3 years elapses, are they supposed to just wait it out?
Or maybe to put it in a better way, I know, for instance, INEC gives room for a recall.
Yes.
Does OCSEC also, can they also exercise that kind of, or do they have that jurisdiction as well?
No is the answer. No is the answer. So it's for the people really to, I mean, I always say this, that remember that the local government is the closest member of the House of Assembly. We talk less of our governor or member of the House of Reps, National Assembly, or the President. But in most cases, we know our councillors because they're from the community. A ward is a very, very, very small geographical entity. So most people know the people that come out and they know those councillors. So they're able to actually go to their house or to the local authority and say, Oga, you people are not doing well. They can actually put direct pressure on local government to make sure that they do what they have been elected to do. So in a way, it is easier to enforce what the people want at the local government level because of the closeness, the proximity of the elected to the electors.
Okay, well, I also want us to look at, I mean, I asked a question earlier about participation from the parties, but it seems, I mean, I drive around quite some, and a lot of the banners I see put up are those of a certain party as against, I mean, you mentioned that there are about 12 who've indicated interest across board, but I see predominantly a particular party, which, why is that? Is it because the other parties or something, maybe this also shows the non-enthusiasm of these other parties?
This question you've asked, Gbenga, is a particular bugbear of mine. I have spoken about this many times. Almost every time I'm interviewed, I mention this. See, I get all sorts of, if you like, accusations or allegations that OCF is biased and that we know what the result will be at the end of the day. That it's the ruling party that usually sweeps the states. But I say in return always that I have not seen any of the other parties campaigning. You need to campaign first before you can say that you are elected, before you can expect to win an election. But if you're not qualified just to fail and blame that person, but I say to them, come out, campaign, let's see your billboards, let the people know what you stand for. Go on the radio, go on TV, go outside, get campaign buses. Just let the people know and then they can decide. But if all they are seeing everywhere they go are billboards and posters of only one party, then it's almost as if the results have been written before the contest. And I don't want it to be so. I want people to come out and campaign.
Okay, I read a press release by you or some sort of statement made by you where you mentioned that registration of electorate is solely the responsibility of INEC.
Absolutely.
OCSEC has nothing to do with that. Do you see that as a bottleneck, seeing that that means, and as it stands, I'm sure there is nothing around registration just yet by INEC, and so it means some people will be disenfranchised and will be able to vote on that day?
I do actually think that that is a bit of, well, not the fact that INEC is the only registering body. That I don't think is the issue. I think the issue is that INEC being the body responsible for registering voters should actually have in reality a continuous voting exercise. The moment you're 18, you should be able to go somewhere and register to vote. That, I think, is where we need to go to. Right now, INEC will come out and say, we're doing a voters registration exercise for so many months. So from the 28th of June, for instance, they're going to start again. But it means that the people who have just turned 18 in the last year or so, or who will turn 18 in the next few weeks, will not be able to vote in our elections. Because until INEC has finished doing that,
continuous voters registration exercise,
they might not be able to come back, and we know how long it takes also to get your voter's card and all that. So I do agree with you that there is a bit of an issue there, but I think that INEC can itself rectify that issue. So, for these elections, the Commission has determined under the powers that it has by law to charge candidates for chairman and vice chairman a sum of 200,000 naira each.
Okay.
Well, that's for the joint ticket. And 100,000 naira each for the councillorship candidates. But we've also determined that because of the historical and still existing disadvantages that females have, because of the really tiny, almost insignificant number of females in our political arena, especially in the elected categories, we determined that in order to encourage more females to come forward, we will not charge females any fees whatsoever for these elections.
So has that led to a turnout of females so far?
I think probably there has been a bit of an increase in the number of females.
As well, I've also heard people who think that is this not in a way trying to also say, yeah, you gave a point where you mentioned that because of the number of those.
We don't see it that way. We see it as being gender sensitive. There are some political parties, and it happens all over the world, especially in the advanced world, that will look at the situation and say, we've got too few females in the political system. So this year we're going to have an all-female candidate list. It's done everywhere in the world because you're trying to get more females into the governing system. And believe you me, the more females you have, the better the system is for all of us.
Why do you say that?
It's just, there's a lot of issues that females are able to look at from their own perspective that men might not actually understand as deeply as women would understand them. And it's not necessarily issues that affect females alone, but there definitely are, there can be no doubt that discourse benefits from input from both genders.
Okay, let's look at, I want to take you back to the issue of campaigns being run by the candidates and those who hope to get elected into positions. In this case, the chairman, the vice chairman, and of course those who hope to be councillors. It's possible to run smear campaigns because you want to get an edge over other candidates. Does OCX also get monitor that, and how do you come in this regard?
Smear campaign
Against another candidate.
Exactly.
I have to confess, we don't monitor things like that. We don't monitor things like that. But what we can do is if there's a petition to us about a certain candidate doing something that they should not be doing, our own way of responding is to refer that to the law enforcement agencies to investigate. And if there's any issue there that is worth taking up, then I'm sure they'll take it up.
So right. How do you guarantee a level playing ground, a fair playing ground for all candidates?
Okay, that's a good question. And all I can say is that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. It's not really possible to just be saying in theory, oh, I do this, I do that. What people see is what determines whether they believe they have a level playing field or not. And all I can say is we as a commission, we have set out from day one and continue and will be fair to all. We will be just to all. We will be even-handed. And we will be transparent. Transparency is absolutely crucial, and so is inclusivity. So in everything that we do, we take everybody as an equal, all the parties, the NGOs. So what we do with one is what we do with the other. We have an open door policy. Any political party can request to meet us, and they will meet us. And we have been meeting many of them over the last few weeks. And where we feel that whatever issues they have raised require attention, we will give it attention. There's no doubt about that. But it is the people who are watching us and who are seeing us that can really determine whether, as far as they're concerned, we have given them level playing field.
Okay.
All right, this is Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM, the Integrity Station. We're having a conversation with the chairman of the Ogun State Independent Electoral Commission, OCX, Mr. Babatunde Oshibodu, on the upcoming local government elections in the state and everything you need to know in that regard. We're live on Facebook, and so you can get to be a part of this. Just head straight to Facebook and enter into your search bar at Splash FM. It's right as well, like Dara rightly mentioned during the course of the introduction. We'll pay attention to your calls, but you can keep your WhatsApp messages coming through. Send them to 0817-555-1067, 0817-555-1067. My next question is regards COVID-19. Well, last year, of course, the pandemic broke out, and some have targeted the new normal, and that you have to factor in different things and how things are getting done have been impacted to a large extent. In fact, I was at a place yesterday.
Coming from our office without
A mask.
All the electoral workers too, periodically, will be expected to be sanitizing as they go on. So, and there will also be social distancing at the polling booth. So we fully expect to be compliant.
I'm pretty concerned, and my concern is regards the symptoms. I know you are not an health official, but
besides that, as widely as possible. But where people come, we're at that stage now. So we will encourage everybody to come out on the day with their mask on to enable them to vote.
All right, we have a comment here that begs your answer. Good morning. I want to welcome our guests and the presenters. Well done. I just want to advise the Commission to be transparent, and there should be accountability to all political parties involved in the elections. My question is this: can the Commission organize a live debate for all the aspirants in all the parties so as to know the level of their understanding in administration and how intelligent they are? This is coming from Sanitarian Akinola Uwarotimi from Ashur.
That's a very interesting question. But alas, we do not have that mandate. No electoral umpire ever organizes debates. That's a media thing to do if they are able or interested in doing it. It is not part of our mandate, so we will not.
We'll get to open the phone lines very shortly now. Let's talk about the election day. I read where you mentioned collaboration with security agencies as regards the conduct of the poll on the election day. What exactly is on ground in that regard?
But what is on ground is that we have been collaborating and we will continue to collaborate with the law enforcement agencies in the state, and I mean all the law enforcement agencies. I don't want.
Will the army be involved?
The army is not usually involved in things like that, but they're always on standby. Okay. If anything requires their attention, they're always on standby. But we don't expect any such thing in this particular election. We expect the civil law enforcement agencies, so that's the police, the civil defense, NSCDC, even bodies such as TRACE, bodies such as federal road safety corps, all of them to assist us in the day. The DSS is certainly very, very involved in our preparations. They're monitoring all the situation and all the developments as they go on. So even the correctional service are involved. So we're pretty confident. We've met them one-on-one. Okay. We've also met them at stakeholders meetings over the last few weeks. We're pretty elections. There will be no disturbance. But I will say it again, as I've said before, if anybody comes out on the day thinking that they can disturb the peace, they have another thing coming.
All right. Well, I know this might sound cheeky. Maybe it's because we had a conversation with the commandant of Abeokuta Concordia. 0704 400 1067 and 0817 555 1067. We have with us live in the studio the chairman of the Ogun State Independent Electoral Commission, OCEC, Mr. Babatunde Oshihodu. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name? I'm sorry, we could barely got your name.
So I just want to ask the
okay.
What is the constitution of the
Your question will be duly answered. Thank you very much for calling. Hello, good morning. You'd have to turn off your radio if we're going to engage you. Please turn it off. Hello?
Yeah, done that.
All right,
Hello,
good morning. Good morning to you.
Yeah, please, my name is Tokumbo. I'm calling from Ashiro, Abeokuta.
Tokumbo from Ashiro, talk to us.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask the chairman, in the past year, we have observed that other political parties don't take part in this election, probably because they feel cheated or they feel there will not be a fair play in this election because it is organized by the government friendly. To encourage other political parties and to assure them that this thing is going to be a fair play, there's going to be a different side of it this time around, so as to encourage them to take part in this election. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. I appreciate that. 0817 444 1067 0704 400 1067 and 08175551060. Perhaps you just respond to the ones that have come in so far.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So qualification, it's the same qualification for both offices. And what the law requires is school leaving certificate equivalent. So when we say school leaving certificate, that means secondary school leaving certificate. And its equivalent in this case is if you have done primary 6 and that is over 10 years ago, then it is accepted that you have a qualification. It's as simple as that.
What about where do they get to express to whom what they have to offer to the community? That is not in your jurisdiction?
That's during the campaign. That's the purpose of campaigning. Okay. And I'll say it again. The beauty of these particular elections is that the geographical location or geographical where they're campaigning, go there and ask questions. So that's that for qualifications. In terms of the elections being organized by the government in power, the first thing I'll say is that the name of the commission starts with independent. So it is not the government that is organizing. Also confirmed by the House of Assembly, which is some kind of check and balance, if you like. So we are not, strictly speaking, the government. We are an independent commission. We do not take instructions from the government. How ourselves as an independent commission. So when you say, how can we guarantee that we will be fair to all we can do is say, judge us by our actions. And I've said it here earlier. We should not be surprised if only one party is campaigning and that party comes out victorious on election day. I'm again using this medium to urge all the political parties to come out and campaign vigorously. Let the people know what you have to offer so that you at least, one, have a chance to win. And if you do not win, then you can at least know that you have done your utmost to succeed. But if you sit at home and all you do is say, oh, the government party will always win, then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. We don't want that.
Okay, we have another caller now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
This is Adefulu speaking from Kenya.
Adefulu, talk to us.
Good morning, Presenter. Good morning to his guest. Yes, I want to ask some questions. You are saying about independence. Yes, but like what you said, independence to Nigeria is not independent. Nobody is independent to Nigeria. Even the judiciary.
That could be a far cry. We say nobody's independent, but just go on.
I'm talking about the Independent National Electoral Commission, the judiciary. I'm not saying them as independent because what assurance can you give us that there is no influence of the state government in your appointment? There is an influence because you have been appointed by the state governor. Even the commissioner that are going to work with you, they have been appointed by the state governor. And what is the assurance you are giving us that there is no influence of godfatherism in this campaign or in this election? Then thereafter, I would like to ask you, this issue of godfatherism and political thuggery, how are you trying to cut it? That I will give about transparency in this election, this forthcoming local government election. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Adefulu, for talking to us.
Okay, so Mr. Adefulu, thank you for that question. Look, the issue of godfatherism has nothing to do with HCF. That's an internal party matter. By the time people come to us, they've already been selected by their party. How they were selected, whether it was a godfather that influenced it or not, it really is not our business. Our business is to say we have so many intra-party or internal party issues.
All right, here is another caller. Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning to you.
Today from Magbon.
Thank you for calling us. Go on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Please, I would like to ask, what are security measures put in place? Because it has been widely reported that the local government election is a bit dangerous and risky. So what are the security measures that have been put in place? Then secondly, definitely OCF could be engaging some ad hoc staff. What is the procedure and how do you go about that?
All right. Thank you very much for calling. Let's see if we have another call so we can just take all of them together. 0817-444. I think you just respond to this one then.
Okay, thank you. So there were two questions there. One about security measures. On election day, I want to encourage everyone to come out to vote. And the main thing when it comes to security is that I show you at every polling booth, and we have over 4,000 of them in the state, at every one of them, every polling unit, there will be at least 2 law enforcement agents armed to make sure that the lives, we're not expecting more than, say, 500 voters. Okay. So we're still, even so, we're still talking of almost 10,000 law enforcement agents out there. In addition to those, there will be patrols. So wherever there is any issue, the people on the ground will call in for reinforcement. There will be patrols all over the place. They will be ready to move in if there's any reason for them to do so. That's 2. 3 is even before the day. As I said, the intelligence agencies are out there. They are sniffing around. Even if there is any indication that some people are preparing to cause havoc on the day, there will be a lot of measures taken before the day to make sure that they neutralize such intentions. So believe you me, there are measures in place to combat any miscreants or any miscreancy on the day.
He mentioned something about ad hoc staff.
Ad hoc staff, yes. We're going to, so for every polling unit, there will be 2 ad hoc staff. Okay. And in addition, there will also be one one official in charge of every ward. In addition to one official called an electoral officer in charge of every local government. So in total, we're recruiting about 10,000 ad hoc staff. We have publicized this over time to say anyone who is interested in taking part should go to our website. And the website is OGSIEC, that's OGSIEC.ogostate.gov.ng. I repeat, OGSIEC, OGSIEC.ogostate.gov.ng. If you go there, you will find the link to the recruitment.
Okay.
You can press on which one you are interested in and submit your application.
Some sort of screening will be done?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll have more calls coming through now. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Nicholas.
We're struggling to hear you.
Coming for this post will not be caught in international airports for fraud when they go for vacation.
Okay.
And that those who come out as their chiefs will also not be caught for fraud.
Everything we do has to be according to law.
Okay, but what is the fact?
For those offensive but has not been convicted, we can't stop them from contesting.
Okay.
Because don't forget, innocent until
even the police personnel.
Thank you for joining us.
The unfortunate reality of what invariably becomes of the every time outcome of our local government polls in this part of the world, is the fact that almost all, if not all of them, all the aspirants, who share and contest under the same political party with the incumbent administration at the state level, they are the ones who invariably turn out being the winners, the executive chairman. Is there anything the OPSEC could do as an expected?
Say what I keep saying. I do not have the power to convince you. You either accept my word or you don't. My word is that we are non-partisan. and we will ensure fairness to all, a level playing field. And also, on the day, we will count your votes, and your votes will count.
Okay. All right. 0817 444 1067. I know we missed a couple of calls earlier. Feel free to call us. Here we are. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, Sajidin from Akpo.
All right. You have 30 seconds now.
Okay, thank you. Please, I would like to ask those who have not been involved in any local government election before now. So I want to know, for INEC, we have the voter's card, we have the electronic voter registration. So for OPCX, I know you can't use the INEC data, definitely. So what has there been a voter registration before now? Or what, I think that's my question.
All right.
What document is required to vote at state level?
Thank you. So I think we've probably covered this earlier on. INEC is the only body responsible for registering voters. So yes, your voter's card is what you will use on the day to vote. However, we do recognize that some people might have lost their voter's card, or there might be issues of some kind with it. So if you come with another government-issued ID, a driver's license, a national ID card, a passport, any of these things, we will accept them as adequate evidence of your registration, as long as we have your name on the list.
Okay.
And on the day, what will happen is that we will have pasted at every polling unit all the particulars of all the voters in that unit. So when you come there, you will see your name and picture posted. They are pasted, and whatever ID you bring must have a picture to show that it is indeed you, and we will also match it to your face to ensure again that it is you before we allow you to vote.
All right, then more calls coming through. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Olakilan.
Olakilan, then. How would you refute the allegation that you contribute to the that you heighten the crisis in the state PDP? That's the question.
I'm sorry, please repeat the question because I could hardly hear it.
How would you refute the allegation that you heighten the crisis in the state PDP?
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pretty straightforward question.
I think that question, as you said, pretty straightforward, but I do not respond to non-specific questions. I don't understand that question. How am I contributing to the what do you say?
To the PDP side of things in the state, how they seem, according to him, not exactly maybe inconsequential as regards to the elections.
All I can say is that the PDP had two factions. Both factions presented their papers to us. We determined that one faction was the legitimate faction to deal with, and we have been dealing with them. It's all very straight.
All right. Well, there's a quick question here from Samson U. Joseph. My question to your guest.
My apologies for that. I should know, but I don't. The next time I'm on air, I will definitely have that information.
Okay, let's see. 2 more calls and we'll get done with the show for today. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello? Oh, okay. Let's stick to this person instead. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, I'm Abeokuta. I'm calling from Abeokuta.
Abayomi, make it snappy.
Yeah, please, I want to ask. I formerly live in Ibarra Housing Estate where I already started.
Okay.
And presently I live at Federal Housing Estate in Lega. How do I cope? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So, for someone who has moved away from where they registered and are now resident somewhere else, from the 28th of June area
The transfer.
to be transferred, for your registration to be transferred from where you were to where you are now.
Would they meet up with the timeline of being able to pass
unlikely. So, and don't forget that on the day there will be no movement of vehicles. So if you want to vote on that day, you need to make sure that you go to wherever you were registered the day before to enable you vote. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will not be able to vote on that day.
All right. Well, we're going to have to call it the day on this segment of the show. But before we let you go, can intending candidates
who have gone through their primaries or the selection process
at the
party,
Mm-hmm.
and it is the party that will then present the candidates to us. Mm-hmm. So it's not for an individual to just come to us.
I mean, can the
say,
party still present the candidate at this point?
Yes, that's. Yes. Remember, I said we've extended it for another 2 days, just to make sure that everybody is able to take part.
Okay. All right, we've been having this conversation with the chairman of Ogun State Independent Electoral Commission, OCEC, Mr. Babatunde Oshibodu. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. He came in the company. Well, thank you so much, sir, for coming. I appreciate it a great deal.
Thank you very much, Gbenga and Odera. Thank you, the people, the good people of Ogun State, for listening to us.
All right.
Again, as a party count.
All right, just stay with us right after the commercial break. Panorama continues. Staying to be from the pages.
Splash FM 106.
Ní Frabjous Family Investment. You don't mean it. Frabjous Family Investment ní àǹfààní tabua lórí ẹ̀. Nítorí pé ọ̀nà méjì lẹ́wọ̀n fi donílẹ̀ pẹ̀lú 25,000 naira. Ẹ ó gba half a plot of land. Bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ́wọ̀n san 50,000 naira. Tí ẹ ó fi gba ilẹ̀ odindi plot kan. Lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ni o. 20 kini. Àníṣe pẹ̀lú 25,000 naira. Ẹ ó gba ilẹ̀ half plot. Tí ẹ ó san 50,000 naira gba ilẹ̀ plot kan. Tí ẹ ó tún ní financial security lórí ìṣúná. Pẹ̀lú ìtẹ̀síwájú nínú ìpele ọ̀rọ̀ yín. Iye tí ran àwọn èèyàn lọ́wọ́ nínú àjùmọ̀ṣepọ̀ ètò yìí. Kẹ́rẹ́kẹ́rẹ́ ilẹ̀ yín yóò di ilé o.
Ohun mi kí wọ́n ọ́fíìsì wọn fún mi kí n lè jẹ́ mbẹ́.
Kàn sí iléeṣẹ́ Frabjous Family Estate and Investment Limited ní Olúṣẹ́gun Ọ̀ṣọ́bàwé adjacent Jídé Jones Òkè Ìléwọ́ Abeokuta. Ẹ pè sórí 080-5801-5535.
Ẹgbẹ́ yìí wù mí o. Frabjous Family Estate.
Ẹ tẹ́tí sí ìkéde pàtàkì yìí. Jọ̀wọ́ fojú inú ìyàwòrán bí o ṣe fẹ́ kí ọdún Kérésìmesì àti ọdún tuntun ìyẹn New Year ó dùn kó lárinrin tó. Ìwọ náà tètè tààrà ṣàṣà wá darapọ̀ mọ́ àwọn ọlọ́gbọ́n ènìyàn tí wọ́n mú ilé iṣẹ́ ABL Merchandise Nigeria Limited bí òpó tí ó ṣe é fẹ̀yìntì fún gbogbo ẹni tó fẹ́ ṣọdún lọ́nà tí ó dùn tí ó lárinrin. Ìwọ sáà ti rí dájú pé òun pẹ̀lú fi ó kéré tán 2,500 naira tàbí 10,000 naira pamọ́ lóṣooṣù fún ìmúrasílẹ̀ ọdún. Gbàrà tí ọdún bá ti kù ọ̀sẹ̀ kan ó ti ní àǹfààní láti wá home theatre fridge freezer àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. ABL Merchandise Nigeria Limited wà ní 47 Purple Building Itamori Junction Abeokuta. Telephone number wọn ni 09026577587.
Ẹ̀yọ́ ọmọ yẹn lálùbáríkà. Lábàámíwé àwọn bàbá yín. Àwọn ìyá yín mọ̀lẹ́bí àti gbogbo aládùúgbò. Pé kọ́ máa kọ́ sí kún owó lẹ́ okòkò wọn. Kálẹ̀ fi dùnú ṣọdún 32,000 ra sọ lẹ́ oko dà báyìí. Lọ́ọ̀tì kan. Èmi kò pè ká má rẹran ká ṣéun gbogbo líwọ̀ntúnwọ̀nsì torí ọjọ́ ọ̀la o. Ẹran léyà máa tán ilẹ̀ yẹn bára máa wà níbẹ̀. Ẹ̀yin rè ní. Ẹ tètè wà láyé plọ́ọ̀tì ìbáwùn yín. A ò ní wáyé lásán o. Ẹ bá tún wá lálẹ́ ìtó plọ́ọ̀tì mẹ́fà. Àtúndín lówó. Ọdún léyà yìí ń bọ̀ yìí kò ní í jáṣe mọ́. Iléeṣẹ́ First January Agro Investment Limited. Àwa Lansarudin House, Kwari Road, Pepsi Labekuta, 081-65-64.
Sparking and rigidity of a football game to the adrenaline pumping and high octane energy sport of Formula One.
Vettel, who started on the second row and is now running.
Join the sports team for high-profile interviews, previews and reviews on the Integrity Station, Splash 106.7 FM. For Sports Cafe every weekday by 11:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m.
Are you ready for some football?
Sports Cafe, all things sports lives here.
See this one where you can feel like this, you chop money ni. Wait till I chop pass money because as you see me so, this layer dog extraordinary promo. Wow. Yes, so from June 14th till August 30, when you subscribe.
Station gone 1 minute past 9 a.m. and this is Panorama. You are welcome back. We just finished the issue of the day, which centered around the Ogun State Independent Electoral Commission, and we had the OCEC chairman here. But now it is time for This segment, which is from the pages, I have with me the Daily Sun.
Here in the Nigerian Tribune.
All right. Okay. So headliner, FG tightens news on social online media. Widens regulation scope, asks reps to include internet broadcasting, Twitter, and others. That can be found on page 6. INEC, PDP rejects Onochie's nomination. That is on page 7. Also on page 5. Ekiti's Oshun governorship polls hold June, July 2022. That's on page 7. UTME 2021, JAM blacklists 18 CBT centers. Says biometric verification only mode for candidates' admittance into exam hall. That's on page 26. Sexual assault, Lagos court denies Baba Ijesha bail. That can be found on page 5. Press Council bill, NPAN false exclusion of media practitioners from public hearing. That's on page 27. INEC removes voting points in mosques, churches, shrines. Lagos, Kano, Kaduna get highest converted polling units. That's on page 7. Tanker explosion claims 7 lives in Ogun. That's on page 5. There's a picture here. Nollywood actor Olarinwaju James, a.k.a. Baba Ijesha, at the Magistrates Court, Yaba, Lagos, over alleged defilement of a minor yesterday. That's what we have on the front page of the Daily Sun newspaper this morning.
To the Nigerian Tribune now on the front page. Presidency attacks PDP governors. Well, number of rioters. First one says accuses them of not supporting solution to herders' prices. The second rider says they're called to stop Naira devaluation would damage export orders. The third rider, World Bank report on poverty exposes Buhari's presidency. That's coming from the PDP. Number 4, or the fourth rider, it is unconstitutional for president to shift security responsibilities to governors. Wike. And the final factor in road accidents, and that's coming from Babatunde Fashion. 56 classrooms. That's according to a UBEC report. 1 killed in Ibadan violence. 2 riders. The first one says gunshots as suspected transport managers, shop owners battle at Iwo Road. The second rider, cops taken to government secretariat. You find that on page 25. Consequential adjustment. Pensioners on GL grade level 1 still receive 23,400. Grade level 17 to get 188,600. A writer to the story says NUP demands 30,000 naira minimum pension. You find that on page 5. Gunmen, you find that on page 8. Also, INEC removes 749 polling units from palaces, mosques, churches, shrines. 3 riders. The first one says increases polling units to 176,846 after 25 years. The second rider, Lagos, Kano, Kaduna get highest converted voting polling units. And the final rider, Ekiti Oshun polls hold June, July 2022. You'll find that on page 8. Those are the headlines. So those are the stories on the front page of Nigerian Tribune. All right, we have joined. He says bad roads not a major factor in road accidents, and I've interfaced with a couple of people. Well, I've interfaced with Federal Road Safety Corps officers, and they've mentioned how, well, maybe bad roads is not all that there is to all that involves or that happens to have an accident or for an accident to happen, but the bad roads also, it's a major one. But for the minister now to say that bad roads not major factor in road accidents, do you think this is true, or
that is misplacement of fact? When you look at factors militating, encouraging accidents, bring about accidents, the number one factor is the road network and the situation with the roads. Then you can also think of the condition of the vehicle itself and probably the driver, the person behind the wheel. So if the minister could say that bad road is not a factor, a big factor, then maybe he's saying, he's justifying why the government is not doing enough to put our roads in shape. So if you are driving and you are, even if you are 40 minutes per kilometer, is it 40 minutes?
Kilometers per
hour. You know, and you are going on a smooth road. You know, you just come across a deep hole. What happened? There are many cases where tires were lost. You know, getting into potholes, and the vehicle is skipped, and it involved accidents. It involved vehicles. So what are we saying? Accessibility. I don't know what is difficult in putting our roads in order.
How about the part where the drivers also come into play? I mean, you mentioned, for instance, you saw that is, and they say if the driver had been pretty attentive, maybe we would have avoided all of that.
Right? And when you are, accident can happen because it might not be the road that you are familiar with. But the only say that the blame we can attribute to the driver or anybody behind the wheel is that if you control your speed and your vehicle is in good shape and you have not taken alcohol, you'll be able to really take. But when you are on the road, you are just one out of 1 million drivers. So, but number one issue is that when the road is good, it's in perfect shape, you move at steady speed, and the accident, you can avoid the accident. You know, and number one major problem in this country causing accidents is bad roads.
Some people would say that we have gone way past the time of being promised our basic rights, you know, when it comes to campaigns for elections and all that. They come out to tell you they're going to fix the roads, they're going to fix electricity, and that these are rights as human beings. Why are we being promised these rights when they're supposed to be focused on, when these are things that are supposed to already be put in place, and they're supposed to focus on things that will drive the nation even more forward? Where do you think?
We're in an unfortunate situation. The minimum is Nigerians. But it's not even a matter of problems. You will discover that when maybe about 5-kilometer road is being opened, the politician will roll out drums. They will spend maybe half of or a quarter of the amount spent on the project to do the celebration. You know, they even come musicians, and in some cases they will have Ashoebi. You know, all those things are the mentality of average Nigerian politicians. Look at where we have gotten it wrong and what can be done to strengthen the governance of this nation. It is aberration and should be avoided.
Right.
If that happens, the government is doing the right thing.
6 to 7. That is the reason.
As National Commissioner and the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, we spoke about this last. Does that not automatically disqualify?
The government doesn't follow it.
All right, of course, coming.
The PDP is right. The country is having a political affliction. They have difficulty in their own case. Good morning. I'm sorry for taking time.
Thank you very much for calling us. Would encourage more calls now. 0817-444-1067. On the live palaces, mosques, used to palaces, mosques, churches, and shrines.
Yes, it is a statement of fact that some polling units in the area that is affected, you will discover that there's no time, you know. So developments, you know, have come, and there are more buildings, more structures, you know, schools have been built, and so on. Of the monarch or the pastor or the imam on who do action. It was available. That is what brought about using of plopping schools, using of
yeah. And from that budget, are we saying it's not enough to say you could pay for some sort of canopy, erect some sort of canopies temporarily for the election day, and then
so
pull it down.
when you will put in place 20-something, there are individual personal, they use some open place beside the road, so that people can have access to. So it is just about 2-3 day event. Go there, vote, and leave. So that's nothing wrong.
Okay, we're still at 7 and 0817. All indigents and people, Jegede heads from Supreme Courts as Akeredolu wins at appeal courts. Is this the confidence that Jegede feels he has to be able to obtain the election that brought in Okebans to win at the Supreme Court? Or it's just been, let's just give it a shot and see what will come out of it at the Supreme Court.
Nigerian politicians, we want to explore all possible means to actualize our interest. There's nothing wrong in going to court, but he spent his personal money, it's not government money. So, but once the judge take decision, that decision is final.
All right, here is that.
Are trying to scrap, locating their voting units, at various religious locations, or they are trying to re-establish it therein.
They did both, destroyed some and increased in some other instances as well.
Wow, what? Because what my line of contribution would have been that honestly, locating our polling units at religious, respective religious places, shrines inclusive, and all these palaces. So I'm not that in support of that, because I've attended a lot of both Christian and Muslim gatherings. You will be surprised that a whole lot of all these the tide of people's opinion when it comes to switching camps in political discussions. So most of it actually they took their origin from our respective religious and worshiping centers. So they are not completely apolitical. So and there is no way locating them bearing. So there are some untelling body languages there. So it's just like right from the word go, the word.
Thank you. Okay, we have a comment before we go further. Imagine from Samson U. Joseph says roads and those that move on the roads use SUVs with the best shock absorbers. These leaders don't know what the common man is going through every day. Lai Mohammed and this current government are doing everything possible to cage us. The new move is to include social media bills in the NBC law. Is evident that we have dictators in power. This ongoing constitution is just a joke because the amendment is still going to be in their selfish interest. How many common man voices will be included in the amendment? The president and the presidency is for one tribe. Why are we talking about a particular region being another man's land to a businessman for free? I think I can make sense of what it's saying, but we have to wrap up Panorama right now. It makes a return tomorrow by 8 a.m.
Yeah, I'm sure Honorable Fatik was hoping to talk about 10.5 million Nigerians put out of poverty. At least it will be published according to the Punch, but we're out of time. Yeah. But let's thank Honorable Johnson Fatik for coming today to be a part of the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for calling me.
All right. I am Odera Otaru. Have a good morning.
And I am Gbenga Fayehun. Have a fantastic day.
You call it jams. Some say vibes. We call it